The wind howled like a wounded beast, hurling razor-sharp ice crystals against the reinforced windows of Research Station Delta. Jack Thompson pulled his thermal jacket tighter, his breath forming small clouds that immediately crystallized in the sub-zero Antarctic air. Something was wrong, terribly wrong, and he could feel it in every fiber of his being. 3 days earlier, standard geological mapping had revealed an anomaly that defied every known scientific principle. The ground-penetrating radar had returned impossible readings, a massive metallic structure buried beneath nearly 2 kilometers of ancient ice. Government agencies had scrambled, sending a mixed team of researchers, military personnel, and specialists from around the world. Jack adjusted the high-resolution scanner, its advanced sensors struggling to make sense of the readings. The device, typically reliable in even the most extreme conditions, flickered and sparked intermittently. Electronic interference danced across its display like angry spirits, revealing glimpses of something massive and geometrically perfect hidden beneath the frozen wasteland. "This doesn't make any sense," he muttered, his fingers tracing the edge of the scanner's display. Dr. Rebecca Martinez, a quantum physicist with NASA, approached from behind. Her breath was visible, but her eyes burned with an intensity that matched the excitement crackling through the research station. "The structural composition is unlike anything we've ever seen," she said, her voice a mixture of scientific curiosity and barely contained wonder. The team had spent months drilling through layers of ice, each meter revealing more questions than answers. Standard geological dating suggested the structure predated human civilization by hundreds of thousands of years, an impossible timeline that challenged everything known about human history. Major Michael Rodriguez from the United States Space Force stood by the main communications console, his military-issue tablet displaying a series of classified briefings. His fingers moved rapidly, cross-referencing the emerging data with decades of classified geological and archaeological records. "We're not dealing with a natural formation," Rodriguez said, his voice low and controlled. "These geometric patterns, the metallurgical signatures, they're too precise, too deliberate." A sudden tremor ran through the research station. Instruments crashed to the floor, and for a moment, everyone froze. The vibration wasn't like an earthquake. It was more calculated, almost mechanical. Jack watched in stunned silence as the ground-penetrating radar began to paint a clearer picture. What emerged was nothing short of impossible. The structure was massive, easily the size of several city blocks. Its outer shell appeared to be composed of an unknown alloy that absorbed and redirected electromagnetic waves. Where traditional scanning methods should have provided clear images, this structure seemed to actively resist detection. "It's responding to us," Rebecca whispered, her hand hovering over a series of complex monitors. "The deeper we drill, the more it adapts." Jack watched a series of complex algorithmic patterns dance across the scanner. Mathematical sequences that seemed to shift and change, creating intricate designs that looked almost like a language. Not random noise, but deliberate communication. Major Rodriguez stepped forward, his military training barely containing his growing sense of anticipation. "We're about to breach the final layer," he announced. "Everyone, prepare for potential first contact." The drilling mechanisms groaned, pushing through the final meters of ancient ice. Something waited beneath, something that had remained hidden for millennia. Jack Thompson felt a chill that had nothing to do with the Antarctic environment. First contact wasn't something that happened in distant space. It was happening right here, right now, in the most unexpected place on Earth. The ground began to tremble again, but this time, it felt like something was rising. Something that had been waiting to be discovered. The first holographic projection shimmered into existence like a fever dream. Jack Thompson watched, transfixed, as intricate patterns of light danced across the underground complex's cavernous chamber. What had begun as a geological expedition had transformed into something far more profound, a window into a forgotten chapter of human history. Dr. Rebecca Martinez moved between a series of advanced scanning devices, her hands moving with practiced precision. Each instrument struggled to process the overwhelming data stream. Quantum computers, typically designed to handle complex astronomical calculations, now whirred and sparked, pushed beyond their technological limits. "These aren't just data records," Rebecca muttered, her eyes reflecting the cascading holographic symbols. "This is a complete technological archive, a blueprint of a civilization we never knew existed." Major Michael Rodriguez stood near the primary access point, his military background battling with pure scientific amazement. Communication specialists from various global intelligence agencies worked frantically, attempting to decode the complex linguistic patterns that seemed to shift and change with each passing moment. The underground complex defied every known architectural principle. Walls composed of an unknown metallic compound seemed to breathe and pulse with an internal energy. Conduits of light ran along geometric patterns that suggested a level of engineering complexity far beyond current human understanding. Dr. Catherine Chen, the linguistic anthropologist, approached a massive holographic interface. Her specialty had always been deciphering ancient communication systems, but nothing could have prepared her for this. The language, if it could be called a language, was a complex fusion of mathematical equations, visual symbolism, and what appeared to be quantum communication protocols. "We're looking at a civilization that understood information as a fundamental force," Catherine explained to her colleagues. "Not just a means of communication, but as a structural element of reality itself." Fragments of historical records began to emerge. Brief glimpses of a global civilization that had existed long before recorded history. They had not been primitive. They were advanced beyond current comprehension. Technological systems that could manipulate gravitational fields, energy transfer methods that made nuclear power look like a child's firecracker, and communication networks that spanned what appeared to be multiple dimensions. Jack Thompson examined a holographic representation of what seemed to be a global infrastructure network. The complexity was mind-bending. Cities that could reconfigure themselves, transportation systems that seemed to fold space rather than traverse it, and energy generation methods that drew power directly from quantum fluctuations. "This changes everything," Major Rodriguez said quietly. "Everything we thought we knew about human history is about to be rewritten." The most shocking discovery came from an unexpected source. A series of historical archives revealed that this civilization hadn't been destroyed. They had chosen to go into hiding. Preliminary translations suggested a cosmic threat so significant that an entire advanced human civilization had deemed it necessary to essentially press pause on their entire existence. Rebecca's quantum computers began to stabilize, parsing through petabytes of information. "They were preparing," she said, her voice a mixture of excitement and growing concern. "This wasn't just a civilization. This was a species-level defensive mechanism." The holographic systems began to respond more actively to human presence. Where initially they had been passive displays, now they seemed to be analyzing the research team. Adaptive interfaces shifted and changed, presenting information in ways that became increasingly comprehensible. Catherine noticed something peculiar. The communication systems weren't just presenting information, they were learning. With each interaction, the holographic displays became more refined, more precisely tuned to human cognitive patterns. "We're not just discovering a lost civilization," Jack realized, watching the intricate dance of light and information. "We're being evaluated by its remnants." As night fell above the Antarctic ice, deep beneath the frozen landscape, humanity stood on the precipice of the greatest discovery in its history. The whispers of a lost civilization were growing louder, more insistent, and they carried a message that would change everything. Commander Zarakel of the Kuril Collective's 6th Expeditionary Fleet stared into the holographic display with increasing unease. The quantum communication network pulsed with an anomalous signal that defied every known scientific principle, a technological signature that should not exist. The Kuril were masters of galactic surveillance. Their civilization had conquered or subjugated hundreds of species across multiple star systems. Their sensor arrays could detect the faintest electromagnetic whisper from thousands of light years away. But this signal was different. It carried a resonance that triggered deep genetic memories within the Kuril leadership, memories of a threat they had believed was long extinct. "Replay the signal," Zorakil commanded, her multi-jointed appendages moving with precise mechanical efficiency. The holographic display flickered, revealing a complex energy signature that seemed to dance between known dimensional boundaries. It was unmistakably of human origin, but far more advanced than any technological profile in the Kuril archives. The last confirmed human contact had been centuries ago, a primitive species relegated to a backwater planet, deemed inconsequential and unworthy of direct intervention. Admiral Krentok, the senior military strategist of the Kuril Collective, materialized on the bridge through a quantum communication projection. His exoskeleton rippled with adaptive camouflage patterns that reflected his growing agitation. "This is impossible," Krentok stated, his translation matrix carrying a tone of absolute certainty. The human species was categorized as a Class D technological civilization. Containment protocols were absolute. The communication archives began to pull historical records. Centuries ago, the Kuril had encountered humanity during its early space exploration phase. The decision had been swift and clinical. Humanity represented a potential future threat. Intervention protocols demanded complete suppression. But something had gone wrong. Zorakil's secondary sensory clusters began to process the implications. The energy signature wasn't just a random technological burst. It was a deliberate communication, a challenge. Worse, it carried undertones of a technological complexity that suggested something far more dangerous than a simple species awakening. "Prepare the forward reconnaissance squadrons," she ordered. The bridge of the massive Kuril command ship began to pulse with preparation. Weapon systems that could shatter planetary crusts came online with terrifying precision. Deep within the Kuril communication networks, ancient warning systems began to activate. These were protocols established during the Great Purge, a systematic elimination of species deemed too dangerous to be allowed continued existence. Humanity had been one such species, or so the Kuril had believed. The quantum communication networks began to light up across multiple star systems. Something was emerging from the human's home system, something that did not conform to any known technological profile. Sensor arrays designed to track the movement of entire galaxies struggled to process the incoming data. Admiral Krentok's projection flickered with rare emotion. "Recall all forward deployed fleets," he commanded. "Initiate maximum defensive protocols." For the first time in centuries, the Kuril Collective felt something approaching fear. Zorakil watched as the first long-range reconnaissance drones began to move toward the human system. The energy signatures they were detecting suggested something impossible, a technological resurrection that defied every known law of galactic development. Humanity was not just awakening. It was preparing for something far more significant. The Kuril had made a fundamental mistake centuries ago. They had not eliminated humanity. They had merely pressed pause on a civilization that was now ready to resume its interrupted trajectory. And the galaxy would soon remember why humans were once considered the most dangerous species in known existence. Emma Rodriguez's neural interface crackled with unprecedented energy. The moment her consciousness touched the ancient ship systems, reality itself seemed to reshape around her. What had begun as a standard diagnostic test transformed into something far beyond scientific understanding. The underground complex hummed with a living intelligence that defied every known technological principle. Quantum processors integrated directly with human neural patterns, creating a symbiosis that blurred the line between organic consciousness and machine intelligence. "We're not just activating a system," Emma muttered to Jack Thompson, who watched from a secondary monitoring station. "We're communicating with something that thinks." The first full activation test pushed the boundaries of human comprehension. As Emma's neural patterns interfaced with the ship's core systems, holographic displays erupted around her. Complex mathematical equations, star charts, and technological schematics danced in three-dimensional space, responding to her thoughts with microscopic precision. Major Michael Rodriguez monitored the external sensors. Every instrument designed to measure energy output, electromagnetic radiation, and quantum fluctuations began to malfunction. Not from interference, but from an inability to process the sheer magnitude of information being generated. Dr. Catherine Chen observed the neural interface with scientific fascination. The ship's systems weren't just responding to Emma's conscious commands. They were anticipating her thoughts, adapting to her cognitive patterns with a level of sophistication that suggested something more than artificial intelligence. The neural integration is unlike anything we've ever seen, Catherine explained to the team of researchers and military specialists. It's not about controlling the system. It's about becoming part of it. Emma's consciousness expanded. She could feel the ship's internal structure, not just as a mechanical system, but as a living entity. Weapon conduits adjusted themselves microsecond by microsecond. Defensive matrices reconfigured based on potential threat scenarios that existed simultaneously across multiple potential realities. Jack watched in awe as the ship's internal environment began to pulse and reconfigure. Corridors that moments ago seemed rigid and metallic now appeared fluid, adapting to the crew's subconscious needs. Energy conduits moved with a calculated intelligence that suggested sentience beyond mere programming. "It's learning," Major Rodriguez said quietly. "With every moment of interaction, it's understanding us better." The weapon systems came online with a precision that defied conventional warfare doctrine. Each turret and energy projection system moved with calculated intelligence. They weren't just weapons. They were adaptive problem-solving entities that could instantaneously calculate multiple engagement scenarios across different dimensional planes. Emma felt something more profound happening. The ship was not just a machine. It was a repository of collective human knowledge. Memories and tactical information from the previous civilization flowed through her consciousness. Centuries of technological development, strategic insights, and cosmic understanding transferred in milliseconds. Dr. Rebecca Martinez monitored the quantum data streams. "The neural interface is creating a collective consciousness," she observed. "Each crew member becomes part of a larger, integrated system." Suddenly, the entire underground complex shifted. What had appeared to be a static archaeological discovery revealed itself as a dormant technological ecosystem. Auxiliary systems began to activate, each one more complex than the last. Repair mechanisms that could reconstruct molecular structures, communication arrays that could potentially breach dimensional barriers. Jack Thompson realized they were witnessing more than a technological awakening. This was a species-level resurrection. "We're not just discovering an ancient technology," he said, his voice filled with a mixture of excitement and profound understanding. "We're reactivating humanity's cosmic immune system." As night fell above the Antarctic ice, deep beneath the frozen landscape, humanity stood on the precipice of a technological transformation that would reshape everything known about human potential. The Guardians were awakening, and the galaxy would soon remember why. The void of space erupted with a fury that defied conventional warfare. Hundreds of Keral battleships emerged from hyperspace, their weapon signatures designed to obliterate entire planetary defense systems. Their formation was a masterpiece of mathematical precision, a strategy that had crushed countless civilizations across the galaxy. They did not expect humanity to be waiting. Major Michael Rodriguez sat in the neural interface chamber, his consciousness merging with the ancient warship's systems. The vessel was no mere machine. It was a living weapon that responded to human thought with quantum-level precision. Around him, a crew of carefully selected specialists became extensions of the ship's consciousness. Emma Rodriguez's voice cut through the neural network. "Incoming Keral attack formation. Probability matrices calculating." The first Keral energy weapons discharge, massive plasma bursts capable of melting through conventional starship hulls. But these weapons encountered something impossible. The human warship didn't just defend, it anticipated. Space itself seemed to bend around the vessel, creating defensive patterns that looked more like impossible mathematics than traditional shielding. "Redirecting energy," Emma commanded, her thought instantaneously translating into tactical maneuvers. The warship's response was nothing short of miraculous. Where traditional defense systems would block or absorb incoming attacks, this vessel manipulated the fundamental principles of space-time. Incoming weapon signatures were not just deflected, they were mathematically reinterpreted, their destructive potential turned back upon the attackers. Admiral Karen Chen watched from the Earth Command Center, her hands gripping the console as real-time data streamed in. The first human warship wasn't just fighting. It was conducting a symphony of cosmic warfare that challenged everything known about space combat. Kuril tactical commanders watched in growing horror. Their most advanced battleships, each capable of destroying entire planetary systems, found themselves outmaneuvered by a single human vessel. The ship didn't just move between points in space. It existed simultaneously in multiple potential combat scenarios, making traditional targeting systems completely obsolete. Energy redirection at 98.7% efficiency, a computer system announced. The human warship was literally consuming the Kuril's offensive capabilities, transforming destructive energy into defensive and offensive potential. The first Kuril battleship exploded not from direct human attack, but from its own redirected energy signatures. Then another, and another. What had begun as a massive invasion force quickly dissolved into expanding clouds of radioactive debris. Jack Thompson, monitoring from the underground complex, realized they were witnessing more than a battle. This was a fundamental reimagining of warfare itself. "They're not just fighting," he said to Dr. Rebecca Martinez. "They're solving the Kuril like a complex mathematical problem." Each human crew member became a neural node in a living, thinking weapon system. Tactical decisions happened faster than conscious thought, with the ship interpreting potential scenarios across multiple dimensional layers. Where Kuril's strategy relied on overwhelming force, the human warship operated with surgical precision. The neural interface allowed for something unprecedented. Crew members could instantaneously share tactical information, their combined consciousness creating a level of strategic thinking that transcended individual human limitations. Within 30 minutes, over 2/3 of the Kuril invasion force had been neutralized, not through brute force, but through a level of tactical and technological superiority that seemed to rewrite the fundamental rules of space warfare. As the last Kuril battleships retreated, a message became clear. Humanity was no longer a species to be conquered or controlled. They were a cosmic force to be reckoned with. The first battle was over, but the war had only just begun. The holographic archives unfolded like a living memory, revealing a history that would shatter everything humanity thought it knew about its place in the universe. Jack Thompson stood transfixed as centuries of forgotten history cascaded around him, transforming the underground research complex into a window across time and space. Dr. Rebecca Martinez worked frantically to stabilize the data streams, her fingers dancing across quantum processing interfaces. What emerged was not just a historical record, it was a cosmic blueprint of humanity's true purpose. "We were never just another species," she whispered, her voice carrying a mixture of awe and revelation. "We were guardians." The archives revealed a multidimensional threat that cycled through galaxies, consuming civilizations like a cosmic plague. Humanity's previous iteration had been a specialized defensive mechanism, a species engineered to recognize, combat, and contain this existential threat. Major Michael Rodriguez reviewed the tactical information, his military background struggling to process the implications. The ancient warships were more than weapons. They were a sophisticated early warning system designed to protect not just one planet, but entire galactic ecosystems. Catherine Chen, the linguistic anthropologist, began decoding the deepest layers of the communication systems. "It's a warning," she explained to her colleagues. "A message passed down through generations, waiting to be activated." The multidimensional threat existed beyond traditional understanding of space and time. It consumed civilizations not through conventional warfare, but by unraveling the fundamental quantum connections that maintained biological and technological integrity. Entire species would simply cease to exist, their very potential erased from reality. Humanity had been the universe's immune system. Jack watched as holographic representations showed previous interventions. Civilizations that had been saved from complete destruction, entire star systems restored to potential after near-total annihilation. The scale was beyond comprehension. The Curl Collective. Emma Rodriguez realized, they're not just another species. They're unwitting servants of the larger threat. The archives revealed a cyclical pattern. Every few thousand years, the multidimensional threat would emerge, consuming potential across multiple realities. And every time, humanity would rise. Redesigned, reimagined, but always with the same fundamental purpose. Dr. Rebecca Martinez discovered something even more profound. The neural interface technology wasn't just a weapon system. It was a method of preserving collective consciousness, a way to transfer knowledge, strategy, and collective memory across generations and potential realities. "We're not rebuilding," Major Rodriguez said, understanding dawning in his eyes. "We're continuing." The underground complex began to pulse with energy. Additional vault systems across the planet started to activate, responding to the awakening of the first warship. Each location was a repository of specialized knowledge, technological, strategic, and evolutionary potential. Catherine Chen translated a crucial message hidden deep within the archives, a warning that went beyond simple communication, a fundamental truth about humanity's cosmic role. "We are the reset mechanism," she read aloud. "When potential becomes corruption, we restore balance." The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just a species fighting for survival. They were a cosmic correction system, designed to intervene when civilizations deviated from their fundamental potential. Jack Thompson looked at his colleagues, understanding that everything was about to change. The discovery wasn't just about technological superiority or winning a war. It was about remembering a purpose written into the very fabric of reality. The universe had been waiting for humanity to awaken. And now, the Guardians were finally returning. Space fractured like broken glass as the human fleet emerged from quantum transition points. Each warship was more than a vessel. It was a living weapon system that carried the collective strategic intelligence of humanity's most brilliant minds. Major Michael Rodriguez interfaced with the primary command network, his consciousness expanding across multiple dimensional layers. The Curl Collective's defensive grids appeared before them. Intricate networks of planetary shields, hyperspace inhibitors, and quantum weapon platforms that had crushed countless civilizations. They would prove no match for humanity. Emma Rodriguez's voice cut through the neural network. Tactical analysis complete. Probability of total system collapse, 99.8%. The first wave of attacks was nothing short of surgical devastation. Human warships didn't just destroy Curl infrastructure. They dismantled it with a precision that suggested the attacks were solving a complex mathematical problem. Entire defense networks collapsed not through brute force, but through perfectly calculated quantum disruptions. Admiral Karen Chen watched from the Earth Command Center as holographic displays showed the unprecedented assault. Each human warship moved with an intelligence that transcended traditional warfare. They existed simultaneously across multiple potential battle scenarios, rendering Curl defensive strategies obsolete before they could be implemented. "They're not just fighting," Dr. Rebecca Martinez observed, her scientific mind racing to comprehend the tactical brilliance. "They're deconstructing an entire civilization's technological infrastructure." Curl communication networks began to unravel, not through direct attacks, but through a systematic dismantling of their fundamental quantum communication protocols. Entire fleet communication systems collapsed, leaving massive warships suddenly isolated and vulnerable. Jack Thompson monitored the deeper implications. This wasn't just a military campaign. It was a precise surgical intervention designed to neutralize a systemic threat. The human warships moved with an almost artistic precision. Where traditional warfare would focus on destruction, these vessels were conducting a cosmic recalibration. Curl planetary defense systems were not obliterated. They were carefully taken apart, their fundamental technologies studied and neutralized. "We're not conquerors," Emma Rodriguez transmitted through the neural network. "We're restoring balance." Entire Keral star systems found their most critical infrastructure suddenly repurposed. Advanced technologies that had been used for oppression were systematically redirected, their potential for destruction transformed into potential for development. Major Rodriguez accessed deeper layers of the strategic interface. The attack wasn't just about defeating the Keral collective. It was about understanding the broader cosmic ecosystem that had allowed such a civilization to emerge. Dr. Catherine Chen decoded communication patterns that revealed the deeper strategy. "We're not destroying," she explained to her colleagues. "We're resetting." The assault lasted 3 standard galactic days. But in those days, humanity dismantled a civilization that had dominated multiple star systems for centuries, not through overwhelming force, but through a level of strategic and technological superiority that made the Keral look like children playing at warfare. Quantum weapon platforms that had once threatened entire species were carefully neutralized. Planetary infrastructure was methodically redesigned. The Keral were not being eliminated. They were being given a chance to evolve. Complete system recalibration. The neural network announced. Potential for positive evolutionary redirection. 94.6%. As the last Keral defense grid collapsed, a message became clear. Humanity was not just a species. They were a cosmic correction mechanism, restoring balance where chaos and oppression had taken root. The war was not about conquest. It was about potential. And humanity had only just begun to understand its true purpose. The quantum communication network pulsed with an energy that defied conventional understanding. Jack Thompson watched in awe as the first wave of awakening began. Ancient fault systems across multiple star clusters activating simultaneously, responding to humanity's renewed purpose. Dr. Rebecca Martinez monitored the data streams, her hands moving with a mixture of scientific precision and barely contained excitement. "It's not just activation," she explained to her colleagues. "It's a galactic reset mechanism." The defeat of the Keral collective was merely the beginning. Each activated vault system revealed another layer of humanity's true cosmic legacy. These were not simple weapon caches or technological repositories. They were carefully placed guardianship nodes, designed to protect and nurture potential across entire galactic ecosystems. Major Michael Rodriguez interfaced with the primary command network, his consciousness expanding across multiple dimensional layers. The strategic implications were beyond anything humanity had previously imagined. They were not conquerors. They were custodians. Emma Rodriguez discovered the deepest secret hidden within the ancient archives. The multidimensional threat they had been designed to combat was more than just a destructive force. It was a cosmic entropy, a systemic breakdown of evolutionary potential that consumed entire species and civilizations. "We're the immune system of reality itself," she transmitted through the neural network. Catherine Chen began decoding the most complex communication layers. Each vault system carried not just technological knowledge, but the collected consciousness of previous human iterations. Memories, strategies, and evolutionary insights passed down through generations that transcended traditional understanding of time and space. The first alien civilizations began to respond, not with fear, but with a profound recognition. Preliminary communication patterns suggested these species had been waiting, hoping for something to interrupt the cyclical destruction that had consumed their own potential. Jack Thompson realized they were witnessing something unprecedented. Humanity was not just a species recovering its lost potential. They were a cosmic correction mechanism, designed to restore balance where chaos and stagnation had taken root. Vault system activation complete, the neural network announced. Potential restoration protocols initiating across 147 identified star clusters. The ancient warships began to move with a purpose that went beyond simple military strategy. They were positioning themselves as guardians, creating quantum communication networks that would allow for rapid response to emerging threats. Dr. Rebecca Martinez discovered the most profound implication. The vault systems were not just defensive mechanisms. They were evolutionary accelerators, designed to help species overcome their own limitations and break through developmental barriers. Major Rodriguez understood the true nature of their mission. "We're not here to conquer," he transmitted. "We're here to help potential emerge." Alien communication networks began to shift. Species that had been trapped in cycles of conflict and destruction suddenly found new pathways of development. The human intervention was not about domination. It was about liberation. Emma Rodriguez accessed the deepest layers of the strategic interface. "We're rewriting the fundamental rules of galactic development," she realized. The first wave of Vault system activations revealed something even more extraordinary. Humanity was not alone in this cosmic guardianship. Other species, long dormant, began to awaken, each with their own specialized role in maintaining the broader galactic ecosystem. Catherine Chen translated a final message hidden deep within the archives, a purpose that went beyond simple defense or expansion. "Balance is not about elimination," she read aloud. "It's about potential." As the solar system hummed with newfound energy, Jack Thompson looked at his colleagues. They had discovered something far greater than a lost civilization or a technological marvel. They had uncovered humanity's true cosmic destiny. The universe had been waiting, and the Guardians had finally returned.